The Oconto County GOP responding tonight after the Sheriff's Department confirms an open investigation is underway concerning a raffle that was never held back in October.
Now, state law requires a refund to be given in this case for raffles that are canceled. New at 6 tonight, our chief political reporter Jason Zimmerman looking into this complaint. He joins us now live in the newsroom with details. Jason.
Chris, this is a story that came to us from a viewer tip. The raffle for a chance to win a gun and $500 cash prize was originally postponed and then canceled. The party chair, Ken Sikora, telling me this afternoon the decision was made because the raffle did not raise enough money to justify it happening. However, the controversy came over refunds and the amount of time it was taking. State law mandates that if a raffle drawing is canceled, the organizing entity must refund all tickets or calendar receipts to the purchasers. Sikora issued a statement just a short time ago explaining a delay in issuing refunds, saying, quote, during the time the raffle was to be held, they were operating without a full board, and eventually money was refunded in a stepwise plan where we sent out checks to those we had complete information on until everyone received a refund, end quote. Sikora also telling us he's been working with the state's Department of Administration, which oversees raffles, to accomplish this. Because a complaint was filed, we did reach out to Sheriff Todd Scarban, and the sheriff responded in an email saying to me, quote, we do have a complaint from a citizen in regard to a canceled raffle sponsored by RPOC. We, the Sheriff's Department, have an open case with my investigative lieutenant assigned, and he has reached out to the Department of Administration to find out what role each of our agencies share moving forward, end quote. Sikora tells me that the person who filed the complaint did not actually buy a raffle ticket. We did reach out to Department of Administration to ask about their role in this investigation and whether any violations took place. I'm told they are working on getting me a response. If you have an issue you'd like me to look into, reach out at jason.zimmerman@wbay.com. Chris, back to you.